Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, and today I have a first look gameplay at For Honor. For Honor is a medieval action game that is developed and published by Ubisoft, and I have to say I'm really impressed with this game. In a genre dominated by games like Dynasty Warriors and Mountain Blade, For Honor, it feels like it's going to be doing something different. Of course you have your hack and slash elements, light attack, heavy attack and so on, but there is also a completely separate combat system for 1v1s and 1v2s, and this is really in depth. You can go and guard in multiple directions, you can go and attack light or heavy in multiple directions, you can go and rush at the enemy and break their guard, grapple them, you can pull off massive combos, and overall this brings an extra element to the gameplay that I think a lot of games in this genre don't have. And you'll see this activate whenever the black bars come down on screen, my guy goes into a really intense stance, the camera goes and pans in really close to my character, and overall it gives it a really cinematic feel, and that is really intense. I just wanted to go and explain it now so you have kind of an idea what is happening with the gameplay. So let's get right into it. In For Honor, there's 3 different factions. You have the Knights, the Samurai, and the Vikings. Now, at the start of the game, you go and choose one of the factions to go and fight for, but this doesn't have an effect on what classes you can go and play in-game. In-game, you can play as any one of the 9 classes, be it if it is a Viking, a Samurai, or a Knight. And these 9 characters are quite unique. They're divided into easy, normal, and hard. Obviously, hard being the most difficult characters to go and play. Those being the assassins, those characters that take a lot of time to go and master combos, have low HP pools, but do a ton of damage. The easy characters, obviously, they do a little bit less damage. They have a little bit more HP, but they're easy to go and pick up. The combos are not too hard to go and learn, and overall, the abilities are straightforward as well. Now, talking about abilities, the ability system in For Honor is really cool. You have 4 abilities, however, none of them are unlocked from the start. The only way to go and unlock ability is by killing enemies, otherwise known as takedowns. Now, if you go and take down 2 or 3 enemies, your first ability will unlock, and that's probably your weakest one. The more enemies you go and kill, the more abilities will go and unlock until you go and get your 4th and final one, which is like your finisher, your ultimate ability that has quite a long cooldown. Now, these are not one-time use abilities. They have a cooldown, they regenerate, and you can go and use them again. But it goes and really says, okay, if you get right into the thick of battle, you try to go and win these 1v1 duels, you try to go and unlock these abilities early, you'll definitely have a better time trying to go and win the game. But what is the objective of For Honor? Well, there is multiple game modes, and I want to go and talk about Dominion first. Dominion has a domination-like feel from Call of Duty. You have the A point, the B point, and the C point, but there is a very big twist, and this mode feels quite unique. Now, the B point is what I want to go and talk about first, and this is where all the soldiers are just running in and fighting each other, trying to go and take control. This is by far the hardest point to go and capture, and it feels very much like a MOBA. You have the soldiers as minions, they're going back and forth trying to fight each other. You have to go and thin out the waves in order for your soldiers to go and capture the point. It's really cool. However, the A and C points can only be captured by human players, and that means you've got to go up there, try to win the 1v1 or 1v2 duel, and if you do, you capture that point and you get a massive boost of points for your team. Now, how to go and win the game is fairly simple. The more you go and kill enemies, you capture the specific areas, you go and kill the soldiers, the minions and whatnot, you will go and gain points. Now, once a team reaches 1,000 points, this is where it gets a little bit of a twist. The opposite team, they completely break, and they can no longer respawn unless they kill opponents or recapture the areas, i.e. bringing that score to less than 1,000 again. A team wins by killing the last hero of a breaking team. It's a bit of a twist on a classic mode, and I have to say, it really pulls out some intense final battles. The second mode is 1v1 duel, fairly straightforward, it's best of 5, and the last mode is 2v2 brawl, which is basically, you just go at it, you just keep hacking away at each other, having some fun, and overall, it's a fairly straightforward mode as well. I say straightforward because that's basically what the objective is. It's either kill the enemy player or players. However, the gameplay in these modes is a lot more intricate, and it really goes and relies a lot more heavily on the dueling system rather than just going for the hack and slash type gameplay. The dueling system, as I talked about before, you can go and guard in 3 different areas, left, right, or up. And that's very much a prediction type of battle, but also reactions, because you can go and see where your enemy is attacking from by a little red mark on your screen. And so you can go and swipe your mouse or your thumbstick in the appropriate direction to try to go and block it. But saying that, you can go and attack from the left, right, or up as well, and you can try to go and mind game out your enemies. You can be going in that left stance and then quickly swap to the right and go for a really, really quick attack. The enemy would have absolutely no chance in trying to go and read it. But on top of that, you can go and press the middle mouse button, that's at least what it is on the PC, and you rush forward, you break the enemy's guard, and that means they're completely exposed for either a light attack or a few light attacks or one really heavy attack. But saying that, if the enemy can go and compose himself quickly enough, then that heavy attack may fail. It feels like a really intricate battle of rock, paper, scissors, but saying that, every fight you lose, you go back and think, okay, what could I have gone and done to try to win that battle? Then you just go right back for that person, try to battle again, and when you win, it feels pretty satisfying indeed. So with the gameplay stuff done, let's go and talk about the graphics. Now for me, graphics in a video game is probably the least important in my opinion, simply because I'm such a gameplay and competitive heavy person. But with For Honor, there isn't so much in terms of the competitive nature. Of course, you're trying to go and win those battles and whatnot, but it seems like you're trying to go and watch a movie at the same time, like a Lord of the Rings type of movie, you go and play out. And that's really cool. The graphics have to go and supplement that. And Ubisoft has done a great job in making For Honor look like a great game. The graphics are beautiful, they are stunning, fire effects are realistic, the explosions are great, the models fantastically detailed, the textures are great as well. Overall, I can't go and fault it. I went and turned down the graphics a little bit, simply just so I could get higher frames per second. I'm running on like medium or high. I'm getting like 80, 90 frames per second. I am a-okay with that. It isn't a first person shooter. I don't need the highest frames per second possible. And this game goes and has a really good balance between good FPS and good visuals. And that is what a lot of games really miss the mark on. So good work, Ubisoft, on that front. This game also has gear customization, as in you can take one of the classes, you can go and change around the colors, you can go and change around the designs, you can really make that class your own. I'm completely for this because it goes and brings a unique aura to each and every player. When you go and fight a really good player, and that player has a unique set of armor, and then you go and see that player in a different game, you might not go and recognize the name, but you might recognize the armor, you might have chills down your spine, and that's something that really good MMORPGs do. And the fact that For Honor has it goes and brings an extra element, an extra piece of social activity that I really do enjoy. Now, one potential point of concern that I do have is replayability. Now, not replayability in terms of maps and modes. Of course, it is only a closed beta phase. Of course, there is only a few maps and a few modes. There will be probably more introduced in the future. But what I'm talking about is replayability in terms of competitiveness. Players want to be the best, and at the moment, there is no way to go and show how good you really are. You can hop in the multiplayer, and you can go and win some battles, and your faction that you're playing for, be it the Vikings, the Samurai, or the Knights, they can go and push forward and capture more land, and you're going to get a reward at the end of the season. But I really think they need a ranked queue. Right now, I'm getting a little bit of deja vu because I felt exactly the same way with Rainbow Six Siege. Rainbow Six Siege, when it first released, was a fantastic first-person shooter and still is a fantastic first-person shooter. However, when it was first released, it didn't have any competitive nature behind it. You just went and played casual just for the sake of playing casual. There was really no other reason other than to go and unlock more operators and whatnot. So there was a ton of hype at the start of Rainbow Six Siege, then it died off, then Ubisoft introduced the ranked queue, and the game had a massive resurgence simply because people really wanted to go and show that they were at its best. There is a developing esports scene behind it, and overall the game is doing really well. I feel like For Honor could potentially be in the same boat. For Honor feels like an absolutely fantastic game to go and play. It's really fun. The graphics are fantastic. The gameplay's fantastic. However, the game doesn't have that competitive edge that I think every game really needs in 2017 to go and hold an audience's interest. Now, if that was introduced quite early into the life cycle of this game, I think a lot of people go and stick around, especially for 1v1 competitive, 1v1 ranked. Being the best person in the world at 1v1 would be really, really cool. You could have like 1v1 invitationals, and on top of that, you could also go and have a 4v4 Dominion ranked queue. And I think that would be great because that mode really requires a lot of teamwork, a lot of organization. You could potentially go and say over voice chat to your team, okay, now we're going to go and rush the A point. Now we're going to go and rush the C point. I want one person to go and hold the A point. Now we're going to go and push the B point forward, try to go and capture that. There's a lot of strategies with the abilities, going and linking them all together, and it could potentially be really fun to go and play those scenarios out in a more competitive type of landscape. Now, the last thing I want to go and talk about today is the price tag. For Honor on Steam is going for $60 US. That is 80 Australian dollars. And I think a lot of people in 2017 are not wanting to go and pay that price. If you have a look at the top sellers on Steam, you can see the only game that is near the price tag of For Honor is Resident Evil 7. The rest of the games are around $15 in the case of Counter-Strike Global Offensive or $20 in the case of Rocket League. They're quite low. But the question has to be asked, will people drop 60 USD on the base game? And then will they drop 30 USD potentially on the season pass for the game? They're going to get all the content for the full development life cycle. They did it for Rainbow Six Siege, but that game is basically a 9 out of 10 in my opinion. Well worth the play, well worth the season pass. But will they do it for Honor? We really don't know. That's a big question mark that we have to go and see a little bit later on down the line. Overall, I'm really enjoying this game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this first look gameplay, and if you did, make sure to go and give it a like rating. But other than that, it's Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, out.